Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Dayakaram Dantam Dharma-pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya-varam param Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. 16th verse. 15th we have finished. So we saw that Maya is divided into two. Generally, when we say Maya is divided into two, it is based on the distinction Vikshepa Shakti and then Avarana Shakti. The projective power. And what is the projective power of Maya? To make something many, as it were. That is called projective power. And then what is Avarana Shakti? Concealing power. They call it veiling power, V-E-I-L-I-N-G. But that also makes one veil, W-A-I-L-I-N-G. So the veiling power, what does the veiling power do? Hides the truth of myself from whom? Myself alone. This is what the thing is. And so these two powers together wreak havoc on the human being. So, but here that is not being talked about, that will be addressed later, but here that is not what is being talked about. When you say twofold powers of, twofold way of looking at Maya, means one from the Jiva's standpoint and another from Ishvara's standpoint. That is very important. So from the Jiva's standpoint, Maya is unrecognizable. From Ishvara's standpoint, how Maya looks from the Jiva's standpoint, it's completely opposite, totally like doing a headstand. And that is what is going to be discussed in verse 16 onwards, especially in verse 16. So let us do that. Let us read that. Sattva Shuddha Vishuddhibhyam Sattva-shuddha vishuddhibhyam Maya vidhecham te mate Maya vidhecha te mate Maya bimbo vashikritya tam syat sarvagnya ishvarah. So, Sattva Shuddha and then Avishuddhi. Sattva Shuddhi and Avishuddhi. Avishuddhi and Sattva Shuddhi is the two ways of distinguishing Maya. What is Sattva Shuddhi? Sattva Shuddhi is in its purest form, in its uninhibited form. Uninhibited by what? By avidya. Meaning what is Sattva Shuddha now? All Vidya. Vidya alone is Sattva Shuddha here. So, endowing Ishvara with all knowledge is this Maya from the standpoint of Ishvara. That which makes Brahman into all-knowing Sarvajna. These are all models, only until one wakes up. When you wake up, all this just becomes fun. Okay? Till then, we have to know the model. We have to understand what we are operating under. Otherwise, there will be no difference between Vedanta and New Age movement. There is this New Age philosophy, which also sounds like, what is that? Advaita Vedanta. What does it say? You are God. And then they get very frustrated. Why? I'm not able to manifest. They're keeping on trying to manifest things. I'm not able to manifest money, I'm not able to manifest a partner, I'm not able to manifest a house. All these things, they get frustrated. So why that manifestation power is there for Ishvara, why it is not here, we have to understand. And this is where it is talked about very beautifully. Sattva Shuddha means all knowledge. There is no tamas, rajas. It's all sattva, means all knowledge, uninhibited, limitless way. And then this is the Dvividha Maya. Two things of Maya are there, two faces of Maya are there. See, nowhere else is it, very few other texts I would say, is it explained so nicely why Jiva and Ishvara look different on the surface. That look is mithya. We can't sort of take it too seriously. That look is mithya. But this is how the differences are there on the surface when we talk about the manifest reality. So you cannot bypass Ishvara, you cannot bypass God. So therefore, this same consciousness, same Brahman, same consciousness, endowed as it were, meaning equipped. Equipped means what? Wearing a robe of all knowledge becomes what? Ishvara. That is what is said. So this Maya, this Bimba here is consciousness. So this Bimba is consciousness. We already saw that. Brahma Pratibimba Samanvita Chidanandamaya Brahma. 15th verse, we talked about that in great detail. So Chidanandamaya Maya Brahma Pratibimba Samanvita. So this Pratibimba, so to speak, in the form of this Maya is what? Is handled by Ishvara. Ishvara plays with Maya, and what about the Jiva? Jiva is played by Maya. This is the difference. Small difference, just a preposition here and there. No, big difference. Difference between Vidya and Avidya. So when Avidya is dropped, all that is there is knowledge. Then we can say Ishvara and I are one. Only in the standpoint that matters. Ishvara and I are one doesn't mean that I can scale Mount Everest without oxygen. That doesn't mean that. Because the Upadhi is still what? Finite. Upadhi was born, Upadhi will die. Oh, and between birth and death, those 4 other vikaras that are there, 4 other modifications, that also the Upadhi is subject to. So therefore, not from the standpoint of the body-mind complex, not from the standpoint of the Upadhi, is the equation being done. Where is the equation being done? The equation is being done at the level of consciousness. You go straight to that which is invariable presence in Ishvara, so to speak, and the invariable presence where the Jiva is concerned, and that is where the equation is being done. So then, so what is the makeup of Ishvara is talked about here? Sattva Shuddha Avishuddhibhyam. So there is two expressions of Maya, not two kinds of Maya, two kinds of expressions of Maya. One is what? All Sattva, untainted even in the slightest bit by Rajas and what else? Tamas. No Rajas, no Tamas, only Sattva. This is the first expression. And then this Maya, what happens? This Maya is under Ishvara's sway. This Maya is not independent of Ishvara. This Maya is not independent, meaning the power to create, the power to manifest, etc., is not an unbridled power. That power is backed by knowledge. That power is backed by a plan. This is what we call nimitta karana. Whereas Maya is what? Upadana Karana. What is the difference between Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana? They are one. Then why are you looking at it separately? Because it is just like doing a dissection. In botany class and biology class, sometimes you have to dissect these to show this is how the circulatory system is there. That doesn't mean the other systems are not there, they are there, but they are being highlighted. Certain things are being highlighted, and so it's not that it is not there, it is all there. So this consciousness, as though endowed with the power to create, the power to manifest, the power to demanifest, the power to sustain, the power to know all specific things about how, who should do what and all these things, all that is not functioning independently. Independently of what? Independently of the knowledge of how these things should unfold. And how the knowledge and the meta order of how the things should unfold, that blueprint is called Ishvara, and then the actual unfoldment is called what? Maya Shakti. So this is the Ishvara is called, bad translation, intelligent cause. Intelligent means what? I don't know, but that's how they say. Nimitta Karana means intelligent cause in English, but Nimitta means literally the Hetu, the cause. And then Upadana Karana means the raw material. So therefore we can say Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanatvam Asti. For Ishvara, for the world, what is there? The cause, the material cause, and the so-called intelligent cause are what? Non-separate. And here there is no need to get confused. Non-separate means what? Non-separate means that there is no bifurcation. Meaning, when you look in the empirical world, and you take some object that is intelligently put together, like even our trusty pot. Pot is intelligently put together, and then what does the pot have? Pot has Nimitta Karana, pot has Upadana Karana. What is the Upadana Karana of the pot? Clay. And then what is the Nimitta Karana? The potter. The potter's the potter's intelligence is the Nimitta Karana. And the Upadana Karana is the raw material, which is the clay. In the world, these two Karanas are in different places. When you go buy the pot, the potter and their family does not come along with you to live. Imagine if every article and every object you bought for your convenience in life, whatever you purchased, the Nimitta Karana also came along. You will have to move out of your house because all the other people connected to those items will be moving in. So that doesn't happen because the Nimitta, the Karana, yatra tatra vartate, we don't know. Where it is, we don't know. Nimitta Karana is somewhere, hanging out, somewhere it is. And now in this global day and age, you don't even know where it is manufactured. Even though it may say made in India, sometimes it means assembled in India, that's all. Or sometimes it means the raw material is India, but then it has assembled in Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, and then came back to India to have that small little patch sewed. What does it say? Made in India. So it's a globe, you don't even know where things are made. There is an absolute disconnect. When we talk about objects in the world, when you talk about Vishayaha, there is an absolute disconnect between the Nimitta Karana and the Upadana Karana. Upadana Karana, very clear, right there it is. Because upadana karana cannot be divorced from the material. So if you're talking of the gold ornament, gold is very much there, but the jeweler who designed, maybe God knows where, maybe somewhere sitting, in some other country, we don't know. So like this, in the world, what is separated? Why? Because of the avishuddha, meaning the presence of sattva along with rajas and tamas. Because of that alone, this separation exists. And then what else? Then this is the then when we can appreciate this, when we can appreciate bhinnatvam of nimitta upadana karanam, nimitta upadana karana bhinnatvam, when we can appreciate, we can also appreciate the aikyam, the oneness. Because Ishvara cannot go borrow the raw material from somebody else. You want to make cake. Suddenly you decided you wanted to make cake. Then what will you do? You can go borrow a cup of atta, flour, and then you can borrow some sugar, you can borrow some butter, you can borrow all these things. Bhagavan wants to make this Jagat cake. Okay? Where will the raw material come from? There is nothing else. All there is Bhagavan. So, we cannot even say God made this world out of nothing. We have to add a little else, nothing else other than that knowledge. In the beginning there was word. What is this word? Knowledge. The word was with Bhagavan. In fact, the word was Bhagavan. Word is knowledge is Bhagavan. Non-separate from Bhagavan is the knowledge, the know-how of how to take this raw material and use it, make it, all these things. So for us the raw material is clay and what else? Gold and things like that. For Bhagavan, what is the raw material? 5 elements. Big raw material, big Jagat. And that all is going to be unfolded very, very beautifully. And so here we have this beautiful section that is going to come. If we understand this much, that where Bhagavan is concerned, where Ishvara is concerned, there is only sattva. And because there is only sattva, what is there? What is there is just all knowledge. And the ability of Ishvara as the nimitta karana of the Jagat, the ability to play with Maya. Children have this little colored dough, atta, play dough. And then the child can make one Ganesha. And then the child can make something else. Make a figure. This is mommy, this is daddy, this is me. They will make all these figures and then they will, have a little tea party. Even the tea pot is made of that same dough. Everything. Similarly, Maya and the Karya. The Karya Prapancha is what? Play dough for Bhagavan. Why? Because if you know, then it is fun, it is play. Whereas that same Maya, from the standpoint of the Jiva, becomes what? Something that the Jiva is played by. Played for Bhagavan, and the Jiva is what? Played by this Maya. So Maya is patti in the hands of Bhagavan, and Jiva is patti in the hands of Maya. That is what is going to be explained in the next one. So, Sarvagnya Ishvaraha, endowed with Maya, Vashikritya, endowed with Maya, and also not coming under the spell of Maya, because there is no Rajas Tamas there. Ishvara becomes what? Sarvagnya. Avidya vashagastvanyah तद्वैचित्र्यादनेकधा साकारणशरीरं स्यात् प्राज्ञस्तत्राभिमानवान्. Yeah. So now what happens to Jiva is given here. Very ingenious transition also, because we are talking of Ishvara and then we are talking of Ishvara as all knowing, and then compared to Ishvara as all knowing, what is Jiva? Ajna. Yeah. Limited, we say, in the waking state. Yeah, that's why the states of sleep waking are also brought here, because he is following the Upanishad. The Upanishad model always brings in the Jagat along with the Jiva, because the Jiva cannot be living in a vacuum. The two come together. So the two come together because after all, what is the reason the Jagat is manifest? For the Jiva's Bhoga. That is also going to be told later on. So for the Jiva's Bhoga alone, the Jagat is manifest, and so therefore this Jiva is the one that has to be accounted for, and compared to all knowledge, Jiva is what? All ignorance. All ignorance? Yes. When? In the deep sleep state. And what does the deep sleep state correspond to? Corresponds to Ishvara between cycles of creation. Between cycles of creation, the Maya is what? Called Avyakta. Avyakta. It is, Maya is there, but it is a latent power, not a manifest power. The 8th chapter is going to use this word. Avyaktad vyaktayas sarvaha prabhavantyharagame ratriagame praliyante. So one day and one night in the life of Brahmaji, the Bhagavan in the form of the creator, one day in the life of Brahmaji is 1000 yugas here, and one night is pralaya, total dissolution of the universe in between cycles of creation and dissolution. So here, when we talk about Maya here from the standpoint of Avyakta, then what do we get? We get this entity called Jiva, who is what? Prajna. Prakarshena Agnya. There are other ways also of deriving this Prajna, but this is enough for now. Prajna Prakarshena Agnya. Prajna. So let us look at this verse. So let us look at the last line. Prajna Tatra Abhimanavan. Abhimanavan means the one who has completely identified with. Abhimanam asya asti iti abhimanavan. This is Matup. Okay, so the one who has this abhimana in local Indian languages means pride, but in Sanskrit it means, what does it mean? Total identification. It means identification. So, identified with this avidya, with Maya, being played by Maya. How do you get played by Maya? You identify with Maya. That is what happens. So this identification with Maya happens, avidya vashagaha, coming under the spell, avidyayaha vasham gacchati iti, avidya vashagaha, the one who comes under the spell of avidya. Like I said, Ishvara plays with Maya, Jiva is what? Played by Maya. Maya plays with the Jiva. So, avidya vashagaha tu anyaha. Who is this anyaha? Jivaha. Right now presented as prajnaha. Prajnaha, because I'll tell you why little later. Let us just look at this verse first. So, this Jiva is called prajna. Why? Not only doesn't know, but doesn't know that he or she doesn't know. Do you see that? Yeah. They say ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss if you know you are ignorant. See, all of you knew I don't have self-knowledge, but you couldn't handle it. That's why you applied and came for the 3-month course. If ignorance was bliss, you would be somewhere. Ignorance is not bliss. What is bliss? Ignorance of ignorance is bliss. That is what happens in sleep. I am ignorant even of being ignorant. Do you see the difference? In waking state, I may be ignorant. I am ignorant of myself. I am ignorant of what else? So many things. So many things that are there in other countries I don't know. I don't know. They say that, what is that? In France, some museum was robbed and they made a daring jewel heist. I don't know. I've never been to France. I've never been to this museum. I don't know what is there. But then I know that I don't know. And then in sleep, I don't know that I don't know. Number one, I don't know that I don't know. Not only do I don't know that I don't know, I love the fact that I don't know that I don't know. Got that? In sleep, whether that sleep comes in Vedanta class or in your room, wherever the sleep comes, I don't know that I don't know. First part of this prajñatvam, part B of this prajñatvam or part 2 of this is that not only do I not know that I don't know, I also love the fact that I don't know that I don't know, so I embrace the ignorance. So in sleep, everybody embraces avidya. Embraces means identified. Identified with avidya in the sleep, because you see, if you don't know that you don't know, there are really no problems. Nothing is there. This one doesn't like me. I don't know that. So great. It doesn't even feature. I don't love myself. That also I don't know. Fantastic. So I don't know that I don't know forms the first part of this state called prajñatvam in deep sleep. And what is the second part? Total abhimana, identification with the not knowing of the not knowing. That is what is being called avidya vashagaha. Avidya vashagaha. Squeezed by avidya, embraced and smothered by avidya. This is the jiva. Okay, so this is the jiva. In what state? Sleep state, deep sleep state. And so, and then tatra prajñah tatra abhimanava. So we saw the first part and the last part. Avidya vashagaha tat syat. Avidya vashagaha tu anyah. Whereas the other one, who is under the spell of avidya, syat prajñah. Prajñah syat. That becomes prajñah. That one is called as prajñah. Not knowing that they don't know. Tatra. Tatra means in the sleep state. And then abhimanavan. So then sa karana shariram syat. Who is this sa? Karana shariram is here. Shariram is neuter. And where did this sa come from? Sa is feminine. The sa is qualifying what? Avidya. That maya is expressed how? In the in the case of the jiva, that maya is, how is that maya expressed? In the form of karana sharira. What is karana sharira? Casual body. Causal body. Okay? Yeah. So be careful with the spelling there. So, sa karana shariram syat. So now this maya has almost, from the standpoint of the upadana karanam, has almost quote unquote become the karana sharira, and the jiva living as it were in the karana sharira, that same consciousness living in the karana sharira, reflected in the karana sharira, is called what? Prajñah. And then because of the embrace of avidya, gets connected to Karana Sharira. Connected is okay, identified with the Karana Sharira. Okay? Identified with the Karana Sharira, sa Karana Shariram syat prajnastatra abhimanavan. So then we have one more thing to the second portion of the first line we have to see. Tad vaichitryad anekadha. So anyah, tat means here this avidya alone is described here. So this ajnanam, tad ajnanam vaichitryat anekadha. Anekadha means in many forms. Vaichitryat means manifest variously. Variously manifest in many forms. This ajnanam is there. This is a confusing statement, which is why we saved the best for the last. This is a confusing statement. So how can there be different kinds of ajnanam? Vaichitryat means manifold. Anekadha means in different situations differently manifest. So what is the problem here? Ajnanam. Ajnanam of what? Satchidananda. Ajnanam of oneself as Satchidananda, that is the only ajnanam. How can it be manifest in different ways? Is your Satchidananda ajnanam different from another person's Satchidananda ajnanam? No, cannot be possible, because the Vishaya of ajnanam is what? Atma. And is the Atma same or different? Same. So same ajnanam. So why does he say anekadha, vaichitrya? Why does he say Panchadashikara? He says this because he is going against a prevalent mata. Mata means darshana, a philosophy, a sparring partner of a philosophy which says avidya of Satchidananda is what? One. Satchidananda is what? One. And so avidya is what? One. And then therefore, this is a very big therefore. Therefore what to do? Therefore, if one person gets enlightened, ... everybody becomes enlightened. That means what? If we are still studying here, that means neither the gurus are enlightened nor the students are enlightened. That's why we are continuing to study. And if you keep studying with unenlightened gurus, then how will the enlightenment come? This is a very funny kind of a thing. But people don't, intellectually, I think we become lazy. We are not having that Adi Shankara's precision, clarity, which even Vidyaranya Swami shows. We don't have that. And so, yeah, ye bhi chalta hai, wo bhi chalta hai, this also goes. We become loosey-goosey in our thinking. Not logical. We have to be logical. So how can, the same avidya, but it will, what will happen? It has to be eradicated from each head. Same avidya in many heads. In certain heads, in this particular iteration, such as dog, cat et al., it cannot be eradicated at this point in time. Dog, cat means it's just good for petting and going around and just, fighting with other dogs, and that's it. That's all it can do. But if we are talking about this avidya in the head of the human being, each head has to eradicate. Then only the knowledge will come. This is why Vaichitryat. Vaichitryat means here we have to take all forms of jivas, the non-human jivas, such as sthavara, trees, and then pashus, animals of all kinds. And what Vaichitryat also means, the four origins of different forms of life. What are they? Andaja. Andat jayateti. That which is born of, what is anda? Egg. Egg born. That covers the aquatic and the bird life forms. And then we have udbhija. Bhumim udbhidya jayante iti. That which breaks through the earth and comes. What is that? Plants. Plants come out like that. Then we have Shvetaja. Shvetaja means what? Born of moisture. You keep you keep a bottle of rice and then you go away for a couple of months, especially during rainy season. Then you come back along with the rice for free. You have what? Some creepy, crawly things or even flying things. How did they get there? Nobody knows. What you put in the bottle was what? Rice. When you come back, it is rice plus some protein. Okay. So, therefore, this means what? The moisture in the rice itself becomes the breeding ground for certain kinds of life forms. Maybe there was an egg there, in one egg must have been there in the rice, and when is that egg hatched? When the moisture comes, I'm just thinking, so maybe that is what happened. So, but anyhow, this is Shvetaja. Finally, we have Jarayuja, mammals who are directly born from their mothers, womb born. These are the 4 life forms, and all of them have what? Avidya. All of them are identified with what? Karana Sharira. All of them are what? Prajna. So this is Vaichitrya. And then another word is used along with Vaichitrya. What is that? Anekadha. Anekadha means in the Ajnanam is manifest in the head of animals differently than in the human heads. And we have covered this already. So, Ajnanam is there in the animals. Everybody has Samanya Ajnanam, and the human being has what? This Ajnanam in a Anyatha Jnanam as well as Ajnanam. What is Anyatha Jnanam? I don't know myself. Everybody has that. Even the dog doesn't know it is God. Even the cat doesn't know I am Brahman. It doesn't know. But then they don't make the second mistake. What is the second mistake? Therefore, I take myself to be what I am not. What I am not, I take myself to be. And so this is part 2 of Avidya, Anekadha. In different ways it is manifest. And the removal of Anyatha Jnanam is the removal of Ajnanam, because the two are connected. So this is what we have to understand. We cannot have one head and then one avidya is dispelled and then everybody becomes enlightened. And for those who still are hanging on to that argument, I will say, please do not go to the lunch hall during the 12:30 hour when the bell rings. Why? Because all your classmates are eating. So if it is the same, then you should also become full. You should also be full. So the avidya has to be eradicated from each head. It's just like, some people think maths is a very difficult subject. So the math teacher explaining mathematics cannot afford to think that if I have explained this equation and one person has got it, all the other students will get it. No. The math teacher cannot make that assumption. If the math teacher makes the assumption, half the class will fail. Thankfully, Vedanta teachers never make that assumption. We don't even assume one head is getting it, let alone all the heads. So we keep saying A for Atma, B for Brahman, C for Chit, D for Dharma, E for Eshana. Like this we keep on saying. Why? Because slowly, as the identification drops with the body, with the sthula sharira, all these things with the raga dveshas, then the clarity grows. So this knowledge, coming from ignorance to knowledge, is not like one thing. I was ignorant. Now, this moment, 9:29 and so many seconds. I have achieved what? Enlightenment. And people celebrate Enlightenment Day. If enlightenment was dependent upon a day, that means what? It is time bound. Then if I am celebrating Enlightenment Day, then I have also to celebrate Ignorance Day, because it will come. It will definitely come. So Enlightenment Day, those two are oxymorons. You cannot put the two together. Enlightenment means that which is beyond date and time and everything. You cannot say Enlightenment Day. And so therefore, we have to see that enlightenment, we don't even use that word very often, that which we call self-knowledge is not something, it is more of a growing clarity. As pieces of ajnanam chip away, that Bhagavan which is hiding in the heart comes to full view. That is what is called darshan. Every sculptor knows this. There is a story that is told that this man was very fond of sculpting. He had a friend and they went for a walk and they saw this big boulder. And then he said, "Can you please help me get this to the house, to my house?" "Why this boulder?" "No, just this. I really would like to have this." So then they got a whole lot of friends together and then brought this over to the backyard of that man's house. 6 months passed. Then he invited all the friends for tea. And then he said, "Would you like to see?" Yes, we would like to see. "What happened to that boulder? Would you like to see?" He takes them to the backyard and then there is some figure clad in cloth. He removes the bed sheet. There is this beautiful Krishna figurine. "Oh, how did you carve Krishna? What did you do?" He said, "I did not carve Krishna." "Who can carve Krishna? Not me." "Then what did you do?" "I just simply chipped away at the non-Krishna parts." This stone here, non-Krishna, chip, 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 hammer, 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 chip, 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 hammer, 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 chisel, chisel. I chiseled out and chipped out and hammered out non-Krishna. What is here remaining is what? Krishna. That is exactly what avidya nirasanam, the removal of ajnanam, is like. That is exactly what it is like. So, vaichitryad anekadha means it has to be eradicated from each head. Anekadha, in many, many forms. Many, many forms means not many forms of avidya, but many, many tries of chipping away at it. So many meanings we can give here. So like this, the gain of self-knowledge is not a one-time deal. It is more often experienced as the chipping away of all the obfuscations and a growing clarity. Now you think, "Oh, I know." Then 1 month later, before you go home, you think, "Yes, I don't know what I was thinking then. I know. So like this is what is called Karana Shariram. So Karana Shariram Syat Prajñas Tatra Abhimanavan. Prajñah Tatra Prajñah Abhimanavan. Tamah pradhanah prakrutehe tadbhogayeshwarajñaya viyat pavanate jombu bhuvo bhutani jagnire. Yeah, there should not be a space between. Yeah, there is a space. It's okay. Ambu. Yeah, okay. No problem. So, bhuvo bhutani jagnire. Sa karana shariram syat. So now, the individual jiva identified with the causal body is got some common cause with what? With the Jagat. So, you see, the creation is so beautiful and the creation is so infallible. It has Bhagavat Buddhi, the intelligence of Bhagavan. It has that. Bhagavad Jnanam it has. It is an expression of Ishvara in the form of knowledge. We cannot even say Ishvara's knowledge, because it is knowledge which is manifest as Ishvara. So that whatever is there in the micro form also has to be the same thing in the macro form. So if the Jiva has come and has this body, and then Ishvara has that body, and the Jagat also has a body, what is the body of Ishvara? No body is the body of Ishvara. No mind, no body in particular. Therefore, all bodies, all minds. But because all bodies and all minds are non-separate from Bhagavan, Bhagavan is no body, not nobody, no body in particular, no mind in particular. So this Jiva Upadhi, the cause of the Jiva Upadhi, and what Upadhi are we talking about? We are talking of Karana Upadhi. This Jivasya Karana Upadhi, the causal body of the Jiva, and the Jagat, the latent form of the Jagat, have to have the same blueprint. They cannot come from different causes. The Jagat cannot come from a different cause and the Jiva comes from a different cause. How will that look like? Very strange. There will be no jiving at all. And if the Karana Shariras of the individual and of the total are different, then it will look very strange. And then when we come to Sukshma Sharira, then there will again be discrepancy. If this were the case, then what? Human body but frog antahkarana. Imagine? Yeah. Can't take the person anywhere, human body, but thinks like a frog. What will happen? And then somebody will be the chief guest at something, some occasion. We are very pleased to introduce so and so, the chief guest of this occasion, and here he or she comes, here they are. And then suddenly the chief guest, who is what? A human being in a frog mind, wants to jump over to the other side. And as they are putting the garland, chief guest has jumped. Or you can imagine the CEO is sitting in a meeting, and then everybody is discussing something serious, one fly is coming. Finish, take out the tongue and then try to catch the fly. That never happens. That infallibility is here under discussion, because it's such a neat plan. And that neatness of the plan is that there cannot be any discrepancy at the level of the individual or at the level of the total. Now that the prajna has been discussed at the individual level, now we go to the total level in the next verse, and at the total level also that same cause, the cause of prajna is the same cause of the Jagat. This is what has to be established. Very beautifully it is established here. So then sa karana shariram syat, we saw that prajnas tatra abhimanavan. Where did this prajna come from? Then we say tamah pradhana prakritehe. So then this prakriti, what is prakriti? Maya here, nature. And tamah pradhana prakriti. This tamaha here is not sattva rajas tamas, ajnanam. So ajnana pradhana prakriti. Then tat bhogaya ishvara ajnaya. So this prakriti, for this prakriti, which is what? Tamah pradhana. Tamah pradhana means overpowered by ignorance. Overpowered by ignorance is the jiva, called what? Prajna. Overpowered by this ignorance is this prakriti, which becomes sentient because of the presence of what? Consciousness. So, Maya shines in borrowed sentience. Maya is what also? Insentient. So, for this insentient Maya on the total level corresponds to Prajna on the individual level. What is Prajna? Jiva overpowered by ignorance. Vashagataha, Maya Vashagaha. So then Jiva overpowered by ignorance at the individual level, and then the same Prakriti is what? Overpowered also by, in here tamas means insentience. Insentience. So insentience here, and only with the help of, with the blessings or the pratibimba, the reflection so to speak, or the blessings of consciousness, becomes sentient and now has a new name. What is that? Ishvara. This Ishvara, Ishvarasya Ajnaya, under the supervision, Agya means supervision here, under the supervision of Ishvara, then this whole Jagat comes out. Now we have a very vexing question. What is the vexing question? Why did Bhagavan create this universe? Huh? What shall we say? Bhagavan did not create the universe. If we say that, then they will not understand. Neither will they understand, nor will they want to believe that either. So then, until people get to a certain kind of a critical mass of Vedanta awareness, this spoof has to be continued. What is the spoof? A provisional explanation, just like the mother gives a child. A child that is too small to understand. Too small to understand anything. Where did I come from? One stork brought you. There is this kind of a thing. One big bird called stork brought you. You were up in the clouds. And then you were delivered in front of the house. Courier, express delivery came. And we opened the door and you were there. And the child is happy. Child goes and plays. He's not able to assimilate anything beyond that because it's just learned how to talk. It doesn't know anything. It need not know anything. This is enough for it right now. Similarly, Mother Shruti also does the same thing for us. And what does she say? She says, Ishvara created, manifested this universe. Why? Bhogaya jivasya bhogaya. For the enjoyment. We shouldn't translate any further the word bhoga as enjoyment. What is bhoga? Experience. That's better. Bhogaya means jivasya bhogaya ishvarajnaya, because of the supervision of Ishvara, through the supervision of Ishvara, for the experience of various experiences. Various experiences of what? Whose experiences? Jiva's experiences. And if you consult the horoscope, like if you consult the astrologer, supposing you consulted the astrologer after being accepted to 3 months course, they will say these 3 months will be very difficult, because the astrologer only looks for certain worldly things, comfort, and then what is considered happiness according to the worldly astrologers. You should be at home, you should be eating good food, you should be comfortable, you should not be catching cold from the neighbor every 2 days, and then the whole class goes, and then again it starts from stage 1. That all should not be happening. So the astrologer, she or he, will say these three months are very difficult. After that, theek ho jayega. Everything will be all right. Is there any astrologer here? That would be interesting. You can take, who? So might be an interesting exercise in all the free time that you have, okay? Might be an interesting exercise to take everybody's birth data and look at this is the blueprint. This is what we are talking about here. How the karma manifests. Bhogaya, this bhoga. So there will be, even with my eyes closed, without seeing anybody's birth details, I can say for sure there will be the presence of Guru, because ashram you are coming and you are studying. There will be the presence of Rahu, discomfort must be there. Rahu is all ego. The ego has to be ground up a little bit. And then so ego, and then Ketu will be there. Ketu is moksha karaka because of Ketu. Ketu helps you to see. Rahu and Ketu are completely opposite. Even in the horoscope chart, they are at different nodes. South node, north node, whatever they call it. Completely opposite. If Rahu is in the second house, Ketu will be in the 8th house. Like that. Out of the, so it will be like this. So, Rahu says, give me, want. Ketu says, don't want, walk away. And so somehow the Rahu must be there. And then for the karma kshaya to take place, yes, karma is all subtle. And for the subtle karma to express itself in the body, so this horoscope is like a blueprint. And so, the person reading, mostly they don't look at the horoscope from the Vedanta standpoint, from the standpoint of being the mumukshu or jignasu for this knowledge. Usually they look at it from success, fulfillment of ragadveshas, all these material things. And so seen from that standpoint, they'll say, yeah, these 3 months will be very difficult. After that, sab theek ho jayega, everything will be okay. But what about the 3-year course students? Yeah, Rahu Mahadasha, Guru Antardasha, Ketu Bhukti, something like that. We have to give a longer term explanation. And so this is Bhogaya. Do you understand the word Bhoga here? Yeah. So Ishvara Ajnaya, it's not an accident that you came here. Nothing is accidental. No, first I was told that there is no room, and at the last minute somebody cancelled and I came in. That is just a worldly explanation. That is how it happened. But really speaking, you were meant to be here. You were meant to experience this. You were meant to gain the knowledge in this particular kind of way. And even though the worldly astrologers may see it as an expression of papa, we see it as what? An expression of punya. It's all in how you look at it. So, tamah pradhana prakritehe tat bhogaya ishvara ajnaya. So, tat bhogaya. So this karma phala bhogaya. So in order to, so why was this, see, many things are not mentioned here, we have to add. Many things are just glossed over because he has to, keep to the meter. Why was this universe created? A stomping ground for the jivas to eke out, to exhaust their karma. But there the explanation does not stop. How did I get this karma? How did you get this karma? From the past life. How did I get the karma in the past life? From the past life. How did I get the karma in the past life? Then you have to say from the what? First life? No, there is no first life. It's a anadi. Avidya is anadi. Jiva is also what? Jiva is also anadi. So, in the cycle of creation, if you have had one human-like life where there is volition, free will to act in certain ways, then you have amassed infinite number of karmas. Infinite karmas. For infinite lifetimes to cause, keep on being born infinitely. This is the loop called samsara. And so therefore here, this bhogaya, this to keep on experiencing this karma, the universe has been manifested. It's all a model until you wake up. When you wake up, all this is like a dream. Just like when you wake up from the dream jagat vanishes. So when you wake up from the sleep, the dream jagat vanishes, and when you wake up from this nightmare of samsara, thinking I am identified with Karana Sharira, Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, everything, then this whole jagat will also what? Go away. Swakale Satyavat Bhati. In its own time, while one is given to this universe, then what committed to this universe, it shines as real. Prabodhe sati asad bhavet. When you wake up, it is gone. It is mithya. More we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om